The message came on a quiet Tuesday morning. At first, the scientists at the SETI Institute thought it was another false signal, like the hundreds they received each year. But this one was different. It repeated in perfect mathematical sequences, carrying with it coordinates and a simple greeting in multiple Earth languages. Humanity had finally made first contact. Ambassador James Walker stood at the window of the transport ship, watching Earth shrink behind them. Even after 3 weeks of intensive preparation and briefings, it still felt surreal. He adjusted his formal diplomatic uniform, making sure the United Earth insignia was perfectly straight. Around him, the alien ship hummed with a quiet energy he couldn't quite understand. "Ambassador," his assistant Robert called from behind. "The council representatives want to speak with you before we dock." Walker nodded, taking one last look at his home planet. The blue marble that had given birth to humanity was now barely larger than his thumb. He turned and followed Robert through the sleek corridors of the alien vessel. The council's representatives were waiting in the ship's conference room. 3 different alien species, each more strange than the last. The tallest one, who had introduced himself as High Counselor Marcus, stood nearly 8 feet tall with silvery skin that seemed to shimmer in the light. Despite their alien appearance, they all wore what appeared to be formal diplomatic attire, not unlike Walker's own uniform. "Ambassador Walker," Marcus spoke, his translation device converting his words to perfect English. "We are approaching the central station. Before we arrive, we wanted to share some wonderful news." Walker sat down at the offered chair, maintaining the calm diplomatic demeanor that had earned him this position. "Please, go ahead." "The Council has reviewed Earth's application for membership," Marcus continued, his large eyes blinking slowly. "We are pleased to inform you that humanity has been approved for provisional membership, effective immediately." Walker's heart raced, but he kept his expression neutral. This was unprecedented. Most species, according to their briefings, waited decades for even provisional membership. "That is unexpected news, High Counselor. May I ask what prompted this decision?" Marcus spread his long fingers in what Walker had learned was a gesture of openness. "Your species has shown remarkable potential, Ambassador. Your adaptability, your technological progress, your unity in the face of our arrival. All of these speak well of humanity's readiness to join galactic society." The smaller alien to Marcus's left, Counselor Reed, leaned forward. "Of course, provisional membership comes with certain requirements. Standard procedures, you understand. Limitations on military expansion, sharing of certain resources, acceptance of Council peacekeeping forces in your system." Walker nodded slowly. He had expected this. "These terms will need to be reviewed by Earth's governments, of course." "Of course," Marcus agreed readily. "But consider the benefits, Ambassador. Access to Council technology, trade routes, medical advancements. We estimate this could advance Earth's development by several centuries." The transport ship shuddered slightly as it began its docking sequence. Through the conference room's window, Walker could see the massive structure of the central station coming into view. It was enormous, easily the size of Earth's moon, a testament to the Council's power and technological advancement. "The Council is eager to welcome humanity into the galactic community," Marcus said, rising from his seat. "We see such potential in your species. Together, we could accomplish great things." Walker stood as well, his mind already composing the report he would send back to Earth. "Thank you, High Counselor. I look forward to presenting these terms to my government." As they walked toward the docking bay, Walker couldn't shake a strange feeling in his gut. Everything they offered was too perfect, too easy. But looking at the magnificent station ahead, seeing the hundreds of alien ships moving about like a dance of stars, he pushed the doubt aside. This was humanity's chance to join something greater than themselves. The docking bay doors opened, revealing a massive welcome ceremony. Hundreds of alien diplomats and officials waited to greet Earth's first ambassador. As Walker stepped through the doorway, he couldn't know that he was walking into the greatest deception in human history. 5 years had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Council. On the surface, Everything seemed perfect. Alien technology had transformed Earth's cities. Disease was becoming a thing of the past. Poverty was disappearing as new energy sources and manufacturing methods spread across the planet. But Admiral Emma Reed couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She stood in her office at Luna Base, Earth's first off-world military headquarters, staring at the holographic display of fleet movements. The Council's ships were everywhere in the solar system, always present, always watching. They called them peacekeeping patrols. "Admiral," her computer system announced, "I've detected an anomaly in the Council's secure communications." Reed straightened up. After 3 years of trying to crack the Council's encryption, this was their first breakthrough. "Show me." The holographic display changed, showing streams of decoded data. Most of it was still encrypted, but one file had broken through. Reed's eyes widened as she read the contents. "Get me a secure line to General Martinez. Now." 10 minutes later, Reed sat in her sealed office, with Martinez's hologram floating before her desk. "They've been lying to us from the start, sir," she said, her voice tight with anger. "The technology they gave us, it's designed to fail in exactly 5 years. All of it." Martinez's hologram leaned forward. "What do you mean, fail?" "Their medical supplies will stop working. The new power plants will shut down. Even our new ships will go dark." Reed pulled up the decoded file. "They're making us dependent on them. And once everything fails, we'll be helpless." Martinez finished. "They could demand anything from us, and we have no choice but to agree." Reed nodded. "It gets worse. Look at these resource surveys they've been doing. They're not looking for trade opportunities. They're mapping out Earth's entire mineral wealth. We're not members of their council. We're their future mining colony." Martinez was quiet for a long moment. "How long do we have?" "According to this file, they plan to spring their trap in 8 months." Reed's hand clenched into a fist. "But they don't know about Project Phoenix." A slight smile crossed Martinez's face. "No, they don't. And they don't know about the bases we've hidden in the asteroid belt either." Reed pulled up another display, this one showing a secret shipyard hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid. Here, away from the Council's prying eyes, humanity had been building their own ships, using their own versions of alien technology. "How many ships can we have ready in 8 months?" Martinez asked. 50, maybe 60. Reed studied the production numbers. "Not as many as the Council, but ours will be better. We've learned from their designs, improved on them. And our crews have been training in secret for years." "And the other preparations?" Reed switched to another display. "We've been quietly stockpiling old technology, stuff that doesn't rely on their systems, and our best engineers have been working on countermeasures for when they try to shut everything down." "Good." Martinez's hologram flickered slightly. "Keep this quiet. Tell only those who absolutely need to know. The Council has spies everywhere." Reed nodded. "What about Ambassador Walker? He should be warned." "No." Martinez's voice was firm. "The Council watches him too closely. If they suspect he knows anything, they might move early. Let him keep playing his part." As Martinez's hologram faded away, Reed turned back to the window. Earth hung in the black sky, beautiful and vulnerable. The Council's ships moved through space around it, thinking they were watching over helpless primitives. They had no idea that humanity had learned the most important lesson of all. Trust was good, but preparation for betrayal was better. In the hidden shipyards of the asteroid belt, humanity's real fleet was taking shape, and when the Council finally showed their true colors, they would learn why it was a mistake to underestimate the human race. The Council struck 3 months earlier than Admiral Reed had predicted. They didn't wait for their trap to spring naturally. Perhaps they had detected something, sensed that humanity wasn't as helpless as they pretended to be. It began with Ambassador Walker's arrest. He was in the middle of a routine council meeting when armed guards stormed the chamber. High Counselor Marcus stood up, his silvery skin gleaming under the bright lights. "Ambassador James Walker, Marcus announced, his translation device making his voice sound colder than usual. "You are under arrest for conspiracy against the Galactic Council and illegal weapons development." Walker kept his face neutral, though his heart raced. He had expected something like this, but not so soon. "What evidence do you have of these charges?" "We don't need evidence," one of the other council members said. "The council's decision is final." As the guards led Walker away, he caught a glimpse of Marcus speaking into a communication device. The trap was springing shut, and he could do nothing to warn Earth. Within hours, Council peacekeeping ships appeared in orbit around every human colony. On Mars, armed forces seized the main dome cities. The mining operations in the asteroid belt were surrounded. And above Earth, hundreds of Council warships emerged from faster-than-light travel. In her office on Luna Base, Admiral Reed watched it all unfold on her tactical displays. Emergency signals flooded in from every human settlement in the solar system. The Council's ships were everywhere, their weapons trained on civilian targets. "Ma'am," her assistant reported, "they're demanding immediate surrender of all military facilities. They say if we resist, they'll start bombing civilian areas." Reed's fingers tightened on her desk. "And our communication channels. Being jammed. We can't reach Earth or any of the colonies." Reed allowed herself one deep breath. Then she opened a hidden computer panel and pressed her palm against it. "Computer, authorize Protocol Phoenix. Authorization Reed Alpha 70. Protocol Phoenix authorized." The computer responded. "Transmitting wake-up codes now." Throughout the solar system, hidden transmitters activated. In secret bases and hollowed-out asteroids, lights came on in darkened hangars. Emergency orders, prepared years ago, began reaching carefully chosen commanders. On her screen, Reed watched as Council ships surrounded Luna Base, their weapons powered up, ready to destroy humanity's primary military headquarters. "Ma'am," her assistant said, "they're asking for our surrender. They're giving us 10 minutes. Reed smiled. "Tell them we need 15. We have to gather our officers." The assistant nodded and transmitted the message. On the screens, the Council ships held their positions, their commanders probably feeling smug about giving the primitives time to accept their fate. They didn't notice the small maintenance craft leaving the base's repair dock. They paid no attention to the supply ships making their final deliveries. Why would they? Their scans showed no weapons, no threats. They didn't know about the advanced stealth systems humanity had developed. They didn't realize that every small craft escaping the base carried vital military personnel to hidden command centers. 8 minutes into their deadline, Reed's own shuttle slipped away from Luna Base, hidden among debris from a failed satellite. As she watched through the viewport, the Council ships opened fire, destroying the base in a spectacular explosion. "All personnel evacuated?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. We left nothing but empty buildings and outdated computers." Reed nodded. In her pocket, she felt her secure communicator vibrate. The signal from Project Phoenix's hidden shipyards. Their fleet was ready. "Send the word to all commanders," she ordered. "Operation Counterstrike begins in 6 hours. Let's show the Council what humanity can really do." As her shuttle disappeared into the darkness of space, Reed thought of Ambassador Walker, now a prisoner on the Council station. "Hold on, James," she whispered. "The real fight is just beginning." Commander Thomas Gray stood in the hidden shipyard carved into asteroid X-249, watching as emergency lights flashed across the massive chamber. Around him, the largest secret in human history was waking up. "Status report." He called out to his bridge crew, who were rushing to their stations aboard the flagship, Phoenix Rising. "All ships reporting ready, sir," his second-in-command replied. "Reactor cores are hot. Weapon systems are charging. Stealth systems are engaged." Gray nodded, looking out at the other ships in the massive hidden dock. 50 warships, each more advanced than anything the Council had ever seen. While humanity had pretended to be learning basic spaceflight from the Council, Their best engineers had been reverse engineering and improving upon alien technology. His communication screen lit up with Admiral Reed's face. She looked tired but determined. "Commander, is the Phoenix fleet ready?" "Yes, Admiral. All ships are crewed and armed. The Council still hasn't detected our base." "Good." Reed's image flickered slightly. "The Council thinks they've won. Their ships are spreading out, getting sloppy. They're already starting to land troops on Earth." Gray's jaw tightened. "Their mistake. What are our orders?" "Primary objective is securing our colony on Mars. The Council has the least forces there, and we need that base. Secondary objective is destroying their communication relays. Once those are down, they won't be able to call for reinforcements." "And our new weapons?" A small smile crossed Reed's face. "The Council thinks they gave us basic technology. Wait until they see what we actually built with it." Each ship in the Phoenix fleet carried weapons that even the Council hadn't developed. Quantum disruptors that could shut down enemy ships without destroying them. AI systems that could predict and counter enemy tactics in microseconds. Shields that could absorb enemy fire and turn it into power. "All ships, battle stations," Gray ordered. Around him, the bridge crew strapped into their positions. "Engineering, status of the phase drive." "Phase drive at full power, sir. We can jump the entire fleet right into Mars orbit. The Council won't know what hit them." This was humanity's greatest secret. While the Council thought they were teaching humans simple faster-than-light travel, Earth's scientists had developed something far more advanced. The phase drive could move ships through a dimension the Council hadn't even discovered yet. "Admiral," Gray reported, "the fleet is ready, awaiting your command." On his screen, Reed looked at something off-camera. The Council just announced their victory to the galaxy. They're broadcasting about how they've contained the human threat. Perfect timing. She turned back to Gray. "Commander, you have a go. Show them what a real human threat looks like." Gray nodded and switched to the fleet-wide channel. "All ships, this is Commander Gray. For 5 years, we've hidden. We've watched. We've prepared. The Council thinks they know what humanity is capable of. Today, we prove them wrong." He looked at the massive holographic display showing their target. Mars hung in space, surrounded by Council ships that thought they were invincible. "Phase drives charging," his navigator announced. "Jump coordinates locked on Mars orbital grid. All ships in formation." Gray took his command chair, feeling the deep hum of power through the ship. Around him, 50 of the most advanced warships ever built by human hands prepared to reveal themselves to an unsuspecting galaxy. "On my mark," he ordered. 3, 2, 1, jump. In an instant, the asteroid base disappeared around them. When reality reformed, they were behind the Council fleet at Mars. For a brief moment, there was total silence as the Council ships tried to understand what they were seeing. Then the Phoenix fleet opened fire, and the real war began. The Council ships never stood a chance. Their commanders were so shocked by the sudden appearance of the Phoenix fleet that they didn't even raise their shields in time. The first volley from humanity's quantum disruptors shut down half their ships before they could fire a single shot. Commander Gray watched from the bridge of the Phoenix rising as his fleet moved with perfect precision. Status of the enemy fleet: 15 ships disabled, sir, his tactical officer reported. 10 more trying to retreat. Their weapons can't penetrate our shields. On the main screen, Gray watched as another Council ship tried to fire its main weapons at them. The energy beams splashed harmlessly against the Phoenix Rising shields, their power being absorbed and redirected to the ship's own systems. "Sir," his communication officer called out, "we're picking up their transmissions." They're panicking. Of course they were. The Council thought they were fighting primitive humans who barely understood space travel. Instead, they faced ships that could appear out of nowhere, weapons that could disable their vessels without destroying them, and shields that turned their own power against them. "Admiral Reed is on the line," the comm officer announced. Reed's face appeared on his screen, a fierce smile on her face. "Well done, Commander. Mars is secure. Now for Phase 2. Gray nodded. "The Council's main fleet above Earth." "Exactly. They're mobilizing everything they have. Our spy satellites count over 300 ships gathering in Earth orbit." Some of his bridge crew looked nervous at those numbers. Gray didn't blame them. 50 ships against 300 wasn't a fair fight. "For the Council, all ships," Gray ordered, "prepare for phase jump. Target coordinates: Earth orbital grid section 7. As his fleet moved into formation, Gray thought about the Council's fatal mistake. They had given humanity basic technology, thinking they were keeping the real advances secret, but they had underestimated human ingenuity. Every piece of simple technology they shared had been taken apart, studied, improved, and transformed into something far more powerful. "Phase drives charge," his navigator reported. "Jump coordinates locked. Execute jump." The fleet vanished from Mars orbit and reappeared above Earth, right in the middle of the Council's armada. This time, the Council ships were ready, their weapons already firing. It made no difference. The Phoenix fleet's AI systems predicted and countered every attack. Their advanced shields absorbed the enemy fire, growing stronger with each hit. Their quantum disruptors reached out and shut down Council ships by the dozen. "Sir," his tactical officer called out, "the Council flagship is trying to surrender." On the main screen, Gray could see the massive Council vessel powering down its weapons. Around it, other ships were following suit, their crews realizing they were hopelessly outmatched. "Admiral," Gray reported, "the Earth orbital fleet is surrendering. Should we accept?" Reed's face appeared on his screen again. "Accept their surrender, Commander. But make it clear, they are to withdraw all forces from Earth and its colonies immediately. Any ship that doesn't comply will be disabled." As Gray transmitted the surrender terms, he watched the Council ships beginning their retreat. Some tried to jump to faster than light speed, but the quantum disruptors caught them before they could escape. "Message from Earth's surface," his comm officer announced. "The ground forces the Council landed are surrendering too. They're requesting immediate evacuation." Gray allowed himself a small smile. The Council had spent 5 years thinking they were slowly wrapping a noose around humanity's neck. Instead, they had given humans everything needed to defeat them. "Admiral," he reported, "Earth is secure. Shall we proceed to Phase 3? Reed nodded. "Yes, Commander. Set course for the Council's central station. It's time to free Ambassador Walker and show the galaxy what happens when you betray humanity." News of humanity's victory spread through the galaxy like wildfire. The Council had tried to block all communications, but they couldn't stop the truth. Videos of their mighty fleet surrendering above Earth reached every corner of known space. And the galaxy watched in amazement. Admiral Reed stood on the bridge of her command ship, reviewing reports from across Council space. "Another uprising in the Centauri sector," she told her staff. "The blue-skinned people there, the ones the Council said were too primitive for full membership, they've seized control of their orbital stations. Just like the crystal beings in the Orion Arm did yesterday," her intelligence officer added. "The Council's authority is collapsing everywhere." On her main screen, a map showed the status of Council space. Red dots marked systems in open rebellion. Yellow showed those demanding independence. Green indicated those pledging friendship to Earth. The colors were spreading faster than anyone had expected. "Message from Commander Gray," her comm officer announced. "The Phoenix fleet has secured another Council supply base. The local species there are asking for our help in forming their own government." Reed nodded. The Council's greatest weapon had always been fear. Fear of being alone in the galaxy. Fear of being helpless. Fear of being denied technology and trade. But humanity had shown the galaxy that the Council wasn't invincible. "New message coming in," the comm officer said. It's from the rock people of the Inner Ring. They're offering us their advanced mining technology in exchange for protection from Council retaliation." Reed smiled. The rock people had been council members for centuries, forced to mine resources for their supposed superiors. Now they were choosing a new path. "Accept their offer," she ordered. "Tell them Earth guarantees their independence." Her tactical display lit up with new information. The Council's military was deserting in huge numbers. Entire fleets were declaring themselves independent or pledging loyalty to the new alliance forming around Earth. "Admiral," her assistant called out, "the freed colonies are asking for a meeting. They want to discuss forming a new galactic organization, one based on equality and mutual respect." It was happening faster than anyone had planned. The Council's carefully built system of control and manipulation was falling apart. Species that had been kept apart, told they were too primitive to interact, were now reaching out to each other. "Message from Mars Colony," the comm officer reported. "The medical teams there say they've combined our advanced technology with healing techniques from 3 other species. They're calling it a breakthrough in genetic medicine." This was what the Council had feared most. Different species working together, sharing knowledge freely, growing stronger through cooperation rather than control. "Admiral," her tactical officer interrupted, "long-range sensors detect a large fleet approaching from the outer rim. It's the Shadow Walkers." The bridge crew fell silent. The Shadow Walkers were legendary, a species so advanced that even the Council feared them. They had isolated themselves centuries ago, refusing to participate in galactic politics. "They're transmitting a message," the comm officer said, sounding nervous. Reed straightened her uniform. "Play it." A deep, rhythmic voice filled the bridge. "People of Earth, we have watched. We have seen. The Council's time is ending. A new age begins. We would speak with you about tomorrow." Reed looked at her crew, saw the mixture of fear and pride on their faces. Humanity had started this revolution, but it was growing into something far larger. "Send a response," she ordered. "Tell them Earth welcomes dialogue with all free species." As her crew transmitted the message, Reed thought about how far they had come. The Council had thought they were slowly conquering humanity. Instead, they had given humans the tools to free the galaxy. "New reports coming in," her intelligence officer announced. 3 more sectors in open rebellion. The Council's grip is failing everywhere. Reed nodded. "Send word to Commander Gray. Tell him to prepare the Phoenix Fleet for the final push. It's time to free Ambassador Walker and end the Council's reign forever." The Council's central station hung in space like a small moon, its once proud lights now dimmed. Before it, the combined fleet of Earth and its new allies gathered, over 1,000 ships from 30 different species, all united under a single cause. Commander Gray stood on the bridge of the Phoenix Rising, watching the tactical display. "Status report. Council station's shields are down," his tactical officer replied. "Their weapons are offline. Internal scans show most of their security forces have already surrendered. And High Counselor Marcus, still in the main chamber with what's left of the Council leadership. They're demanding to speak with human representatives." Gray allowed himself a grim smile. "Well, let's not keep them waiting." The boarding operation took less than an hour. Teams of humans and their alien allies moved through the station's corridors, accepting surrenders from Council forces who had lost all will to fight. The myth of Council supremacy had been shattered forever. In the detention block, a joint rescue team found Ambassador Walker in his cell. Despite 5 months of imprisonment, he stood tall and proud as the door opened. "You're late," he told his rescuers with a small smile. "Traffic was terrible," Gray replied, helping Walker out. "Ready to attend one last Council meeting." Walker straightened his wrinkled diplomatic uniform. "I've been preparing my closing remarks for months." In the main Council chamber, High Counselor Marcus and the remaining Council leaders were surrounded by guards from 6 different species. Their silvery skin had lost its shine, their once grand robes now wrinkled and stained. Admiral Reed entered first, followed by Walker and representatives from Earth's new allies. The Shadow Walkers glided in silently, their ancient wisdom filling the room with quiet power. The rock people stomped in proudly, no longer bowing to anyone. The crystal binge shimmered with newfound confidence. Marcus stood, trying to maintain his dignity. This is a violation of council law. The council's laws no longer matter. Reed interrupted. Your authority is finished. This station will become the headquarters of a new galactic alliance, one built on equality and mutual respect, not lies and manipulation. Walker stepped forward, facing his former captors. You could have had humanity as true allies. Instead, you chose to try to enslave us. In doing so, you gave us everything we needed to defeat you. The Council ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years, Marcus protested. We maintained order. We controlled the spread of dangerous technologies. You suppressed advancement. A Shadow Walker's voice echoed. You prevented unity. You feared what would happen if species worked together as equals. Reed nodded to the guards. Take them to detention. They'll stand trial for crimes against all sentient species. As the former council leaders were led away, Walker turned to the gathered representatives. Today marks a new beginning. Earth offers its technology and friendship to all species who wish to join our alliance. Together, we can build something far greater than the Council ever imagined. The next few hours were spent in peaceful discussion. Old laws were struck down. New agreements were forged. Species that had been kept apart by Council decree met and shared their unique perspectives. On the Phoenix Rising's bridge, Gray watched the proceedings through the station's windows. Message from Earth Command, his comm officer reported. They're asking about the status of the operation. Gray looked at the former Council station, now flying the flag of the new Galactic Alliance. Around it, ships from dozens of species moved in harmony, their crews working together to build a new future. Tell them, he said, that the mission is complete. The Council's reign is over, and humanity has helped give birth to something far better. In the Council chamber, Walker and Reed stood with their new allies, watching as the first laws of their alliance were written. The Council had thought they could control humanity through deception and force. Instead, they had taught humanity exactly how to defeat them. And now the galaxy was free.